Good morning. My name is Marissa and I'm the creator behind Missouri Makes. You can find me on Instagram as Missouri_Makes, and you can find me on Ravelry as well as the patterns that I've written as Missouri Makes. Anything that I mention here in this video and all of my previous videos have show notes in my Ravelry group. And if you can't personally go on Ravelry due to whatever, because I know some people have trouble with Ravelry now, if you will leave me a comment down in the comment section, I will be happy to start putting these show notes in the description box down below. Last week, it had been 2 weeks since I had podcasted. I put up, I think it was our Arc Encounter video that I had put up the week before. So I only posted every other week there. And so I had 2 weeks of stuff gathered up to show you. I don't have as much this week, so this week will be a shorter video. I am struggling with that because I like videoing or podcasting every other week and then posting a different video the weeks that I don't podcast. But with doing that, I have so much, it ends up being like a 45-minute video to watch. And now, personally, I watch 20-minute videos all the way up to 2.5, 3-hour videos. I don't sit and watch them all at one time. I'll watch a few minutes and then I'll get up and go do something because I can't sit for that amount of time and stare at the screen. I have to get up and do something. But I don't know if 45-minute videos for my channel is a good thing. You know, I don't know if you would prefer watching 20-minute videos, if you would prefer watching 45-minute videos, or if you'd prefer watching 10-minute videos. I don't know. If you would prefer 10-minute videos, then I could do little pieces here and there and maybe do like finished object videos, what I'm working on videos, stuff like that, and post it throughout the week instead of one 25-30-minute video at every Friday, you know. But I do have a little bit to show you. I am recording on a Tuesday. What's today's date? The 21st. It's about noon, and it actually has cooled down a lot. We have had some rain the past couple days off and on, and right now it is gloomy, very dark outside, and when you go outside it's pretty cool, especially when the wind's blowing. So the porch today is actually comfortable. I can actually sit up here, which means that things will probably start cooling down from here on out, which means I can get my sewing machine out and start practicing sewing and maybe get some more videos out here on the porch, because I have a really pretty wood table that I use when I can. I use it to wind my yarn and stuff, but when it cools down I would like to use it for my video tutorials, because like, okay, I did my video tutorial for my beginner pet bed that came out Saturday of last week. I'll be sure to link it up here somewhere. But I did the tutorial on that wooden table, and the lighting and everything looks a whole lot better there than it does on my kitchen table. I try my best to have good lighting and to use a lighter color yarn for my video tutorials when I do it at the table, but still the lighting isn't where I would like it to be. And with doing the video on that table there, the wooden table, it seemed to be a lot better. And probably because I have windows all the way across here and all the way the front. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 this way that covers the whole wall, and then there's 3 that goes in front of me that covers my half of my yarn area. So hopefully here soon I can start doing all my videos on the porch and do it that way. I want to find some fabric so that I can take and put curtains up on these windows. So on the months that are on the warmer side, maybe it won't be so hot out here, because I know with all these windows here, with the sun blaring in, it gets really, really hot out here, suffocating hot sometimes. So I'm hoping that I can start looking for fabric to make curtains. And I don't care if it's just one fabric that goes across or how I do it right now. I just want the windows covered up so that it's not as hot on this porch. And whenever it comes down to winter time, it'll be a little bit more insulation to keep the cold out. It won't completely fix it, but it'll help. So, let's see. I have yarn that I dyed to show you. I have yarn that I bought. And I have one finished object. It's a finished object as in that's the pattern, but I plan on doing more to it to show you different ways to use the pattern. And then I have a pattern. I cast it on another hat because I needed something that just, I don't know. I feel like casting on everything right now, and I don't know why, but I just want to cast on or start new projects. And I think what it is I need that instant gratification of finishing something, and I'm not getting it. I need to just finish something to fix this urge, and then I can work on my bigger projects. But I ended up casting on another hat, and the Malabrigo yarn that I showed you last week, and I'll show you again here in a little bit, I found a pattern that I want to do with it. My husband thought I wasn't going to use the yarn anytime soon, and granted, I've got 2 more skeins I got to find projects for, but I did find a project for one of them. So, that's going to be in this episode. Let's go ahead and start with the finished object. Now, this finished object, depends on how well you like color work and how fast you crochet, how long this will take you. Now, there's going to be another part to this piece, but as a whole, this is the pattern. And then I will show you in the pattern what else you can do to how to use this. And so, I made a graph or a chart. Is it a graph or a chart? I think it's a graph. Okay. Anyways, you know what I mean. I took and made a little pumpkin. Isn't it so pretty? I am so happy that this came out as good as it did. This is crocheted color work, and I started out, you'll see here in a minute, I started out with carrying my ends through the project. Excuse me. I started out carrying my ends through the project, and I was having trouble down here because you start at the bottom. I was having trouble down here because if I wasn't careful, you'd see it through the stitches. And I didn't know how to fix that. And so I played with it, and I'm glad I did this project because it taught me a thing for color work. And I plan on doing a video on what I'm talking about, just in case it's confusing. Especially if you haven't done color work, it can get confusing. But I have a chart, graph, chart, whatever. And I went by it, marked off my rows as I went. And my printer's running out of ink, so you can't see half of the white squares on mine. So I had to kind of draw everything in to make it work. But the color work, the pumpkin part came out just fine, so I knew what I was doing. But with this, I was having trouble whenever I started on how to cover up my ends on the back, because this pattern originally started out being I could use this and make a wall hanging, because people love to take crocheted work like this and make it into wall hangings. I wanted something that was fall-ish because I always said that winter was my favorite season, but I actually think fall is, because fall is not cold, but it's not hot. It's cool enough that you can wear your crocheted and knitted garments, but not so cold that it's unbearable, you know? And so that, I think fall is my favorite. And I wanted to do some fall patterns, and I plan on doing some more, but the original idea was to do a wall hanging, and I could put it up here somewhere, but that was the original idea. And then I thought, but what if I took and made a back panel of just this cream color and made it into a pillow? This would be a perfect accent piece whenever you're going to decorate your house for fall, because I know a lot of people do that. I've personally never decorated for seasons. I would love to. I don't know if I have the eye to decorate like that. I would love to decorate for each season, but people love to do that, and this will probably be something that sits on my shelf or maybe on my table. But I'm thinking that I'm going to take and make a panel this color here and put it on the back and stuff it and make it a pillow. I haven't decided if I want to do edging around the pillow around here, or if I just want to make it plain and kind of do a slip stitch around. But this pattern is 37 stitches this way, and it is 40 rows this way. I added another row here because the green was a little bit thicker than the other yarn that I was using, and it kind of, if you can tell, it made kind of a ridge here, and so I wanted the cream color to cover that up. And once you make it into a pillow, you're not going to be able to notice. You're not going to notice it at all, and so I'm not too worried about that. The yarn that I used, hold on, I'll show you my back. My back looks a little gnarly right now, but if I'm making this into a pillow, then I'm just going to put all those ends inside the pillow and nobody's going to see. And then you don't have to worry about hiding your ends in, and you don't have to worry about stuff coming out, you know? And if it does, you'll have that long tail that you can cover up. But if you notice, with color work, you have especially if you're doing 1, 2, 3, 4 colors, you're going to have a lot of strands. Compared to what I could have, I don't have a lot of strands. Most of my strands are in, and you look on this side and you can't tell it very much, but on this side you see what you do. And I'll have a whole video for this, but whenever you say you want to have your orange like this right here, I didn't hide this in so I could kind of show you what to do. See, this orange goes all the way across the green. What you would do is you would take and make it go all the way across, and say you're crocheting 3 orange, 1 brown, 1 orange, and then you come across your green, and then the next stitch after your green would be an orange stitch. So this last orange stitch you have over here, you want to take and pull the strand all the way across to make your stitch on the other side. And then you have your strand here. So when you come to the next row, you'll take and crochet over it. And when you do that, it keeps this strand on the back side of your work and not in the middle of the stitch, to where it kind of shows the yarn, like right here. That's because I was carrying the yarn through instead of doing it like this. If you do it like this, then you don't risk as much showing whenever you have your finished project. And so that's what I'm going to do there. There's 37 stitches across and 41 rows up. And that's what's going to be the pattern. And then in the pattern, I will show you how to make the back panel and stitch it up if you want to make a pillow. Or you could totally take and make this into a wall hanging and hang it in your living room, kitchen, whatever it is that you're decorating. You could totally do that too. The yarns that I used. The green for the stem. Now the pattern shows the outline of the pumpkin in black. I didn't have any black on hand that I could find enough of, and so I used brown. You can use whatever color you want, but I will show you what I used. The green for the stem is just Red Heart Super Saver. The color that I used is Hunter Green. You can use whatever you want, like I said. The orange for the pumpkin is Vanna's Choice. What color? Terracotta. These were whole skeins when I started, so you see how much there is left of this. I haven't calculated everything yet, but that will all be put in the pattern. You don't have to worry about that. This is, again, Vanna's Choice. It is Vanna's Choice. I don't know what the colorway is at the moment, but I will have that written in the pattern, what colorway this is. And it's just a scrap piece. It's not a full skein. And it didn't take a lot to do this project. And the cream color for it is a skein of Lion Brand Heartland that I found. And it was a full skein when I started. And the color is Acadia. And that's what this is. All of these are 4-weight yarns. And you can honestly, like the pet bed, you can take and pull out your scraps and you can work this and none will be the wiser. It don't matter. But I figured I'd show you what I use, so if you want to replicate this completely, you can. I used 1, 2, 3 different yarn brands for this, yarn brands for this project, and you can tell the only one that would be iffy would be this green, and that's because it's a little bit thicker than the rest of it, but we just fudge things and make it work, and it's just fun. They're all acrylic yarns. They're all 4-weight yarns. And I can't wait to have this done. It's going to actually be in a collaboration because I'm going to be in a group of designers for, I want to say, the 11th, which is the second week, I believe, next month. It's going to be put into that, and so you can stay tuned for that and see what all they have to offer. Okay, there's that. You want to see the hat that I started? I've had this yarn sitting on this shelf here. This shelf here mostly has hand-dyed yarns or luxury yarns, and so that's what stays there. And this is one of my hand-dyed yarns. I've had it on the shelf for a little while because I didn't know what to do with it. It's a fingering weight, which is perfect for socks. It's a 75-25 blend of superwash merino and nylon. And this is the colorway. It is different shades of green with little black specks in it. And you can tell I tried working something up in it and frogged it, and that's what it looks like. What it is I tried to use this yarn to make, there's a lady at my husband's work that wanted a green hat, and I tried to use this to crochet her hat and quickly figured out that crocheting fingering weight yarn is not always my strong suit, because if you're using the recommended hook for fingering weight yarn, it's really tedious. And so if I was to use a bigger hook and make like a lacy shawl, I could probably do it, but crocheting fingering weight into a hat is really tedious. And so silly me, I decided to knit a fingering weight hat instead. And it's beautiful. It's coming out beautiful, and it's coming out beautiful. I'm glad I'm making it and can't wait for it to be done. This will probably be a pattern in the future once I do finally get it done. But it is actually pretty simple and beginner friendly. This is the hat and how it's working up. And I didn't do any ribbing. The whole pattern is done one way. And then I plan on, whenever it's time to evenly do creases up top. I don't know if I want to do a slouchy version or if I want to do a regular version. I would love to have a pom-pom on it. I haven't completely decided all, I haven't completely decided all what I'm going to do yet. But I know myself, I don't care for purling. I don't care to do it a little bit, but I don't want to do the whole entire project in pearls. And so I wanted something that I could just kind of ease through. And this is actually what I've been taking with me whenever we go out anywhere. I take it to church with me. I take it anytime I'm in the car. This is my car project because knitting for me is harder to do in the car. And if I have to concentrate or if I have to purl or whatever, it's even harder for me to do in the car. And so I wanted something that I could just knit. And that's what this is. There are no pearls in this hat. Even though it looks like ribbing, there are no pearls. And I've got probably 2.5 inches done on this. Granted, once I wash it, it'll probably stretch. But that is what it is. And that's what the whole hat's going to be, is just this pattern. I'm not going to do anything else because I don't want to purl in it. And this is my mindless project. My I don't want to think about it project. So this colorway never came out to buy. I just kept this one for myself, and I've got a pink version over there that's the same as this, where it's like a dusty pink with black specks in it. And so, but I did this green one, and I don't know why I'm into green right now. I am not a green lover. I like an olive green, but just green like this. I'm not a green person. I prefer purple and sometimes pink, stuff like that. I like blues, but I'm not much of a green person. Alrighty. Y'all want to see acquisitions? Well, it's the fancy word for I bought yarn. I bought crap. I mean, y'all want to see it? Okay, so we went down to Arkansas. If you didn't know, I live in Doniphan, Missouri, and I'm originally from Arkansas, Walnut Ridge, Hoxie area, and my family's down there. Let me turn that down real quick. Okay. So, we went down Friday to visit my family and to get my birth certificate because I'm in the process of trying to get my driver's license because I am 23 years old and never had a driver's license, never driven. Not significant. You know, I've done a little bit, but not enough to say I drove. And so I'm working on that, but here in Doniphan, they won't let you even get a photo. I have to have a photo ID to get my birth certificate with my new last name on it because I got married in December. And Doniphan won't let you get a photo ID without a birth certificate, but I can't get my birth certificate without a photo ID. So I had to go down to Arkansas and get things over there. And then once I get all that done, I'm going to have it switched up here so that it's all current, but I don't know how I don't know how they do that up here. I guess if you were born in Missouri, the way you get your birth certificate must be different, because I don't know how you would do it. But anyways, we went to Maynard, ate some lunch over there, because Doug loves hamburgers. And don't get me wrong, I like a good hamburger, and it was really good. But and I think they said it was pretty much the only restaurant in Maynard. But they have good burgers. And then we went down and grocery shopped, and he ended up taking me to Jonesboro to grocery shop because he needed new shoes and stuff. And I went by Joann's and got some stuff. And one of these is clearance, and then the other one, they had a tag saying that they were 2 for $5. And they had solids, and then they had yarns that had sparkle. But they said that the big twist, there was a twang in there, I'm sorry. The big twist was 2 for $5. And so I grabbed 3 of them, which was the only 3 skeins that they had of this. I grabbed, and my bag ripped. And when I got to the register, they charged me $4 a skein. And I'm like, that's not right. The tag says 2 for $5. The lady went back there and she's like, I can see how that'd be misleading. And so she went ahead and went through, because she claimed that it was for a different yarn. But there was only 2 kinds of yarn in there, and it was the big twist. One was sparkle and one wasn't. And so she's like, I know how that could be misleading. I'll go ahead and give you for what the tag says. And I'm thinking, what does that tag qualify for if it's not for the yarn that is right there? But she went ahead and she fixed things. So I ended up getting the Big Twist Twinkle for 2 for $5. And I got 3 skeins of this, so that would be $7.50 for 3 skeins. It is the colorway gray. They had this color gray, which is the light one, and then they had a darker gray. And I want to say they had blue, dark blue, green, and red in the sparkle. I'm not sure. The light gray, I'm thinking, would look better against my skin versus the other colors, because I have very, very light skin. This is called Big Twist Twinkle. It is 97 acrylic, 3 metallic fiber. Says 380 yards or 347 meters. It's a 170 gram ball. And so with 380 yards, 369, so I have around 1100, maybe more yards. That should make me something. This should make something pretty good. And here I thought was pretty cool. It tells you 1 skein for a scarf, 1 skein for a hat, 3 for a sweater, and 6 for a blanket. Now it doesn't tell you what size those are, but I thought that that was pretty cool. It's a 4-weight yarn, machine wash, low iron, do not bleach, do not tumble dry, do not clean, or dry clean, and dry flat. Recommended is 8 knitting needles, which is a 5mm, or an H 5mm crochet hook. And just off the bat, it feels soft. I mean, you can feel those sparkly bits in it, but it's not crunchy like most yarns are. And so it's just a 4-weight yarn. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. If you have an idea, tell me in the comments. See the sparkle? I think that's really pretty. And then I found a clearance yarn while I was there. And I wanted more of it, but they only had 1 of the color. I'm dropping stuff. They only had 1 of this colorway. I'll set it right there. Hold on. Okay. I was dropping yarn on the other side of my stuff that I need to show you. So, but They only had one of this colorway, and to me it's a little bit pricey. In my opinion, it's a little bit pricey. I've seen other people use this yarn, and they had a black and gray, and then they had this one, and I want to say they had something else. I don't remember what the colorway was. They had 2 or 3 different ones clearanced out, and this one is gnarly looking, but it's the only color that they had in this. And so I went ahead and got it. It's called Casey, which is knit and crochet. Oh, there we go. Product is Plume. It says 74 acrylic, 13 polyamide, and 13% wool. It even shows a picture of the type of yarn it is right there. I've never seen that on a label. Product of Turkey. It is 170 yards, 100 grams skein, or 155 meters. It calls for a 6mm knitting needle, or a 6.5 in crochet. It is a bulky 5 yarn. But I loved, and you can see here how gnarly it is, but I just loved that color. And I am thinking of a hat, because it's all I got is this one. But I don't know what the original price was. I've never seen it at Joann's before. But I don't know what the original price was, but I paid $5.47 for it. And while I think that that is a bit pricey for this, it's super soft, very, very squishy, very, very soft. You can't even tell that there's wool in it, in my opinion. But, yeah, the color is purple. It's squishy. I figure $5.47, even though to me it's a little bit pricey, paying, if I make a hat out of it, paying $5.50 or whatever for a hat, it's not that big of a deal. And then it's homemade, which is even better. So, I'm thinking it's good. And let's go with, next will be the pattern that I'm looking at. And I'm not going to look it up on my phone. I'll just take and put a picture, there we go, somewhere right here. Now this pattern is a mitt pattern that I have been looking at for a little while. I've showed it to you before, I believe. But it's got an owl print on the top of the hand, I believe. I don't think it's on the back. I think it's on the top of the hand. And it's made, the one that I've seen is like green with a cream color. And I think they use a non-superwash wool for this. In fact, most patterns like this, it reminds me of kind of like Norwegian mitts. But most patterns like that call for a non-superwash type of wool because it works better. The stitches meld and blend together better, and then it keeps your hands a lot warmer. But I figured I would do my Malabrigo yarn. I showed this in the last video. It's Malabrigo sock. There's 440 yards. It's called Rayon Vert 854. It's just a kettle dyed. I got it in a flea market a couple weeks ago. It's a superwash merino wool. It says kettle dyed. I don't know, but I really, really like this color. And what I plan on doing is making the the mitt in this color, and making the owl in this gray color. I don't know if the color's showing up good on there. This is just a Michaels yarn, loops and thread, wool like. It's a super fine yarn, but It's about the same weight as this, if you look. It's about the same. But this is colored charcoal, which I don't get because it's a silvery light gray, not a dark gray. What is the contents? There's 678 yards per skein. I've already used some of it, so it's not a full skein. 85 acrylic, 15 nylon. And so I'm hoping that that will go well. Once I get my socks done that I'm working on, which I haven't put any more progress on, I don't think, since the last time you saw it. Once I get those done, this is going on my needles because the pattern calls for a size 1 knitting needle, and that's what I'm using for my socks. And so once I get that done, and then I'll switch it over and do that. I'm really excited. I'm hoping that I get them done for this winter. I can get them done for this winter, it's just whether or not I do, because I am lazy when it comes to using fingering weight yarns because it takes forever. The last little bit that I got to show you, I've been working on a fall palette for making garments and selling yarn and stuff like that. I've been working on a fall palette because this yarn up here, this is not this yarn, and one more up, is got a lot of my hand dyed yarn, the leftovers, and I need to get out the old and bring in the new, and so that I can start in on my fall palette. This one I'm playing around with. I put orange in it. I don't really like the orange. I think whenever I repeat this color, I'm going to leave out the orange, and I don't know if this is coming in great, but this is a turquoisey blue with black, and you can see the undertones in this. And I just dyed this on my non-superwash wool base just to play around with. Once I get everything figured out, I will dye it up on all my bases. But that's all I got done. I just did one to play with for now. And then my other one, I would like to have 4 or 5 different colorways, but I've got 2 so far. The other one is this. I am really liking this. This is not only fall to me, but it's a Halloween kind of skein. And all I did, I have purples and oranges in here, and the other colors in here just kind of melded together between the two. I cannot wait to make something out of this. And I got those 2. They're barely dry. And then I grabbed one of my sock weights, which is my 75-25 blend. I grabbed one of them because I had leftover dye that I didn't want to waste. And so all I did was I tossed this skein in the pot and then just started throwing all of the leftover dyes in. And this is what I got. And I'll probably keep this one for myself just because this is a non-repeatable dye lot. This is the only skein there'll be. I mean, when I make other skeins of my fall, I may get something like this with the leftovers, but it won't be exact. So I'm going to call this a one-of-a-kind. The only way I sell this will probably be through Facebook or on the flea market that I was talking about at the flea market, because I only have one of them. But I really like how this come out. It's kind of like a it's not cornmeal. Corn something. What's that blue called? I bet you're screaming it at me right now because I can't think of what it's called. I had a friend that did her whole bathroom in it. But that is the colorway. I'm really, really liking it. It's a dusty blue. It's almost gray blue. And there's some pops of other color in there just because it's the way the dye hit. And so that is what I got. Like I said, once I figure out exactly what I want, I will dye it all up on every base. Because I have 1, 2, 3 different bases right now. Angora, 100% superwash. No, I've got 4. Angora, blend, 100% superwash, my 75-25, and then the 100% Peruvian Highland. And so I have 4 different bases that I can dye it up on. Let me know which one was your favorite. I think personally my favorite is the purple and orange. And so that is probably what I'm going to be using this fall. But you let me know what it is that you like in the comment section down below. And if there is like the pumpkin pattern or any other pattern that I show you from now till whenever, you know, if you sign up for my newsletter, you will be notified first whenever something comes out. And if you are a newsletter subscriber, you get coupons for any pattern that I put out. And you'll get coupons for the yarn that I dye, because whenever I put out new yarn, I put coupons for those who subscribe to my newsletter. You get coupons off of whatever yarn I dye. And so if you want to be in the know for anything that I do, or Missouri Makes does, you can subscribe to my newsletter. That way you never miss anything. And I hope that you liked this video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you never miss another video from Missouri Makes. And I will see y'all another day. Bye.